All right, peace, power, and profit, everybody. Hey, welcome back to Urban Economic Empowerment Show. It's been a while. Every year tax season, I kind of get missing in action a little bit because it gets very busy this time of the year. So I just want to touch on something really quick. I was speaking with one of my contractors today, and he makes a pretty good profit. He started off his business as an LLC, and now he realizes that he's starting to make a pretty good profit, and he wants to become a S corp, and he also wants to work on his budget. So we're going to we're going to talk about that on this evening. Because it's too often that we get in business and we sell our product or service, and whatever we earn, we use it as complete personal profit. But we all have aspirations to expand business, have our business become multi-million business or as large as it can become. However, we never prepare for that. We don't prepare for expansions, we don't prepare for taxes, and all of that is included or should be included in your price of your product or your service. And then it should be broken out so that you can save as quote unquote for the rainy day, the emergency fund, and so on and so on. So I put up an article here that I like to talk about, and I'm going to go, and it says, build your budget in 3 easy steps. Now, most of the information that I'm going to share, many people already like, well, we already know about budgets. We already do it. We're doing fine. However, even though you don't do, or maybe you're in partnership, you guys just really haven't sat down, mapped it all out so that you can really start seeing the fruits of your labor. All right. So I'm just going to go over it anyways. Or maybe you just need the reality check. You're making money and you just spend because you know that check going to hit your account once a month, bi-weekly, every other Friday, some cases every day. You just swipe your card accordingly. But it's time out for that. It's time to start getting back online with some things that, some best practices that will really begin to elevate you, your personal and your business. Okay. So I pulled up this cool little budget calculator from quicken.com, and you can look it up. It says whether you're new to personal finances or have been building towards financial freedom for years, budgeting can be one of the most effective tools for reaching your goals. If you want to experiment with a budget, Quicken's free budget calculator can help you get started. This budget marker will walk you through the key budgeting categories and help you keep track of your monthly expenses. It doesn't matter if your goal is to pay off debt, buy your dream car, or finance a vacation home for Maldives. Our calculator can help. So you have here, so we have these steps and we're going to walk through them. All right. So the first thing you want to talk about, okay, wait a minute. Somebody's calling my phone. All right, so let's keep going. So you have monthly income or other income. All right. So let's put a dollar amount. So let's say your monthly income is 5,000. Let's go to next. Then you have your mortgage. So that could be, all right. So let's say your mortgage is 1,000. Well, let's say your HOA fees is 200. Let's say you don't rent. Homeowners insurance is included in your mortgage. Maybe you don't have any repairs right now, but your water, gas, and electricity for the month, these days maybe a little steep. So let's say 375. Your cable and internet, Lord, they like to bust you in the head. So let's say 125. And your cell phone bill, let's say 120. So let's go to next. Then if you have a car payment, let's say your car payment is about $550. Car insurance a month, let's say 110. Fuel for the month, let's say 250. Car repairs, maybe you have some, maybe you don't. Let's say $100. All right. School supplies. Maybe you don't have, maybe you're not purchasing any school supplies. Student loans, maybe I have no college tuition. Let's keep party rolling. Groceries for the house. Woo, groceries is high. Let's say $400. Let's say you're not splurging like that. You're not really doing any clothes, entertainment. Let's say you might do about $150. No medical, no pet, no other expenses. Emergency fund. Let's go with it right now that maybe you're not doing any emergency. Well, you got $1,600, you know. Let's say you're not doing anything as of yet. Right. So boom. So you'd have 1,600 left over. Well, that's a simple scenario. And I'm sure I left out a whole lot of things, right? So here we go. It says, build your budget with 3 easy steps. Step 1, figure out their monthly income. So your monthly income is definitely, says, get ready to get started. To use your monthly budget calculator, first, you will need to figure out your monthly income. Remember, this is the amount you can spend every month. So be sure to use your net income, which is the money left over after paying taxes and deductions for things like health insurance or your 401k, not gross income, which is your total pay before any deductions. To determine what to enter under salary and wages in your budget calculator, follow these steps. If you get a regular paycheck once a month, enter your net income after deductions each paycheck. If you get paid twice a month, add the 2 take-home amounts to your 2 paychecks together and enter that amount. So I did it on the gross. According to these instructions, it wants you to do it on the net. If you get paid every other week, multiply your take-home amount by 26 for the total number of checks you get each year, and then divide by 12 to get your monthly take-home pay. Enter the amount in your budget calculator. If your income changes from month to month, add up the total monthly deposits for the last 3 months and divide by 3 to get a baseline monthly estimate. Enter the amount in the budget calculator. If the last 3 months were usually high or low, add up all 3 deposits for the past year instead and divide by 12 to get a better average. If you have additional income, such as side hustles, or you receive child support, alimony, or other supplemental income, add that monthly amount under other income. You can also use the section to add a second income if you like to create a joint budget. All right. So this one is budget. They're doing it after your after all your deductions. So let's go back. Let's start over. Let's go back. And we'll do the calculator one more time. Let's see. Oh Lord, don't come over. Let me get it again, because I had already did it. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna do it on the net. So hold on 1 second. I'm on a live stream. What's going on? Oh, it's fine. Let me mute it. Hold up. Let me mute it real quick. Hold on, you. All right. Okay, boom. There we go. All right, so they're doing it on the net. So let's do it off the net. Okay. Peace, power, and profit, Zan. So I think we had 1620 is what we had left over. All right. So boom, we just added that. Now it says how to determine and enter your monthly expenses. Well, we've already did that part. I want to take the net and I want to do this right here. I wanted to do the 30. Hold on, let me go back. And sometimes this is hard to do for some people. What is it? Yeah. 50, 30, 20 budget rule. So this is where I want, where I got myself to. The 50, 30, 20 rule is a simple way to start budgeting without using so many categories. Instead of creating a budget based on categories like transportation costs and groceries, this budget uses just two categories, needs and wants. The rules suggest using 20% of your pay on paying off debt or building your savings. Then keep your needs to about 50% of your pay, given the last 30% to spend on things you want but don't need. Okay. It's not a bad way to get started, but it is very structured. In saving for retirement, saving for emergencies, saving for maintenance funds, making sure you have enough for annual vacations, and paying down low term debt, things can get complicated. A budget with a specific categories can help you create a plan with more financial control. Specific categories also help you to see where your money is going, making it easy to adjust your spending when your life changes or when you want to start planning, for something new. Some of the popular budgeting methods include the 10-20 rule, envelope budgeting method, zero-based budgeting. So I know some people who use the envelope rule. They will take a certain dollar amount, they'll put it in envelopes, and they'll use it by the weeks, and that's what they will spend, and they won't spend any more. Okay. So these are simple ways to use. I use 30, 50, 30, and 20. Now, if I could, okay, so let's do this. So the 10-20, how you can use the 10-20 rule to budget and save. We're quickly nearing it. This article was written in 2022, a year that was featured quite a few ups and downs. So let's go right here. What is the 10-20 rule? While it's technically a rule of thumb as opposed to an enforced decree, the 10-20 rule is a system of budgeting that can work for virtually on anyone. The idea is to keep your total debt at or under 20% of your annual income while maintaining monthly payments at no more than 10% of your monthly net income. Very important. These figures exclude real estate debt. Don't factor in your federal loan or mortgage payments. So, what is included? Any other consumer expense, car payments, yep, credit card payments for sure, personal loans, not now you're catching on. It's you're really feeling weighed down. If you're really feeling weighed down by consumer debt and your bank account is feeling the strain, then the 10-20 rule just might be worth considering. The goal of the 10-20 rule is to take a look at the actual income you're bringing in and determine the amount of debt you should be carrying. By using your net pay after taxes, you get a more realistic picture of how much you're earning and how much debt you can really afford. Here's an example of the 10-20 rule. Say your salary is $40,000 a year and you're a resident of the state of Texas. After taxes, you'll be bringing home $33,900 each year, and your take-home pay will set around $2,825 per month. To figure out 20% of your annual income, just divide your income by 5. 33,000, excuse me, 33,000 divided by 5 is $6,780. You'll want to keep your total debt below that. Remember, your mortgage doesn't count. To figure out 10% of your monthly income, just divide it by 10. $2,825 divided by 10 equals $282.50. Try to keep the combined total of your monthly debt payments below that. If your monthly debt payments are below that number, that's great. The rest can go towards savings, goals, or investing. Does anyone need to follow the 10-20 rule? The 10-20 rule is just a great rule of thumb to refer to when setting a budget. But it's important to remember that it does not apply equally well to every financial situation. If you have a high balance on your student loan debt, for example, you might owe more than 20% of your annual income, maybe even a lot more. But the payments you can still be manageable. If a 20% debt to income ratio isn't realistic for you, just try to keep your monthly goal debt payment below 10% of your monthly earnings after taxes. When the 10% rule can help you. Whether you're trying to build a nest egg, save for emergency fund, or stash away for a trip abroad, budgeting is the best way to ensure that you're meeting your financial obligations while saving for your future. The 10-20 rule is a fantastic way to get an idea of how much debt you can take on or assess the state of your current debt to income ratio. If you're carrying around large amounts of debt, this particular budgeting strategy will help you set a goal for how much you want to be paying on your consumer debts each month. If you don't need every single element of your budget mapped out, the 10-20 rule might be perfect for you. There are plenty of budgeting types out there that allocate every single cent to your expenses. This rule doesn't. However, if you need a more comprehensive budget, or if you struggle with keeping your discretionary spending in check, this particular method might be your best bet. The 10-20 rule versus other types of budgeting. All budgets are created equal, right? On the contrary, while the goal of budgeting might be the same across the board, there are plenty of different ways to get there. While take a look at how the 10-20 rule compares to a few different popular budgets. The cool thing is that you can combine elements from each of to customize your own personal budgeting strategies. Use it to get out of debt, pay your savings account, and take a look at your spending habits. The 50-20 budgeting rule. So there's a lot of different budgeting rules. It's just up to you which one you want to go off of. The most important is that you choose some type of budgeting strategy to help your situation. The 50-30-20 budget, popularized by Elizabeth Warren in her book, All Your Worth, The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. This budgeting rule involves putting 50% of your after-tax income into mandatory living expenses or needs, 30% into wants, and 20% towards savings and debt repayment. This is particularly useful for those who need to break their spending down into categories. It's a bit more comprehensive than the 10-20 rule. Envelope budgeting. Traditionally, the envelope budget consisted of labeling envelopes for each monthly expense, setting money aside in each individual envelope, and using these to pay each bill each month. While we don't recommend leaving all your income in the envelopes full of cash around the house, you can still implement this strategy digitally. In fact, that's exactly how Simplified works. Setting aside money for all your bills in virtual envelopes each month automatically. So you can use the envelope. I know someone who does this, and trust me, when he runs out of his budget, you can't get $1 at him because he'll let you know, I got to wait till next week to open up another envelope. The zero-based budgeting method wants you to spend every cent you earn. Wait, what? You read it right. With zero-based budgeting, every cent of your income is allocated to paying your bills, debt repayment, and savings. With this particular budget, your goal is that each month, your income minus your expenses, debt repayment, and savings equally zero. This strategy is superficial for those who require a very comprehensive budget where every single expense is accounted for. So we want to get away from that. We want to get to the point where we can break it out by percentages, and every dollar we earn is not used towards some type of expense or some type of either your household expenses or your savings. How the 10/20 rule is different. Each budgeting method is meant to push you into a better financial position, but each has its own strengths and weaknesses. The 10/20 rule is very debt focused. Is extremely helpful if you're trying to navigate your way out of high interest credit card debt or excessive consumer debt. It's simple and it's isn't prescriptive about what you're doing with the rest of your money. If you're focused on paying down debt as a financial goal, the 10/20 rule can help you make good decisions about things like credit card debt or a new car loan. Do lenders look at your 10/20 rule? Nope. Do you have a big purchase on the horizon? Have you been starting to position yourself for the best possible loan and rate you can get? If so, maybe you're wondering whether lenders care about the 10/20 rule. The answer is no. The only person who's going to care about your budget is you. The good news, lenders don't use the 10/20 rule. You don't need to worry about them checking your 10/20 ratios when you're looking for something like a loan or a credit card. Lenders do, however, look at things like your debt to income ratio when determining your loan eligibility, the amount you could borrow, and what your interest rate will be. If you're looking to put yourself in a good position when it comes to financing, sticking to the 10/20 rule will help you get your debt to income ratio in a good place. That helps you maximize your eligibility for loans and can steer you away from steep interest rates. The lower your outstanding balances are, the better chance you have of being able to borrow money when you need it, often at much better rates. Keep an eye on your debt to income ratio. The 10/20 rule is an excellent way to itemize your debt to income ratio. Work your way out of high interest debt and stop giving money away to credit card companies and lenders. By keeping your monthly debt payment below 10% of your monthly income and your total consumer debt below 20% of your annual income, you can start to put yourself in a better financial position and plan for a brighter future. Yay! So this is all about budgeting. Taking your time, making sure you are looking at your budget every year, every quarter, making sure you're living in a controlled lifestyle versus I'm gonna do it because I have it type of lifestyle. And that's super important when you are trying to grow your network. So let's look at some other learning tools. Let's see. Let's see. This says this is an old article. So let's go back. Let's look at some current. Oh, let's see what we can look at. Let's look at that. What is the average retirement savings by age? Your retirement savings goal may sound simple. Save enough money to retire comfortably. when you no longer receive a regular paycheck, but determining exactly how much money you need for retirement and how much you should have tucked away now to be on track can be a bit more complicated. Understanding the benchmarks of average savings at various stages of life is like having a compass guiding you through the complex landscape of retirement planning. It enables you to access your own financial standing within the context of your age group. So let's see what we got going on here. Keep in mind that how you plan for retirement will depend on many factors unique to your situation. So take an averages with a grain of salt. What is the average retirement savings by age? Based on the data from the 2022 survey of consumer finances by the Federal Reserve System, here's the average amount of people in retirement savings based on age groups. All right, so let me know how old you are in the chat. So I am 47. So the average retirement savings for age of 47 is $313,220. Okay. So for added context, 28% of your non-retired adults do not have any retirement savings. And that's according to the Fed's 2023 Economic Well-Being of U.S. Household Report. So you have to have some type of savings because here's the deal. Many people get upset about different government plans and programs, but contrary to some of y'all popular belief in these streets, these social media streets, some of y'all gonna need these programs. Y'all may be whining about Social Security or low income housing and all these different things that you whine about, but some of y'all are going to need these plans, okay? Because you are not saving for the rainy day. You're not saving for retirement. And if you can honestly tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror right now at your age and say you are on track for retirement, then kudos to you. Shout out to you. High five. And here's a round of applause for you who take care of your finances. So it matters. It matters who you bring into your life, that whether they're good stewards over money or they spend every dime that they have. It matters what you train and you teach your kids, how they become financially independent in their savings. You can't always just want the latest this and the latest that if it's going to cost you. If you're spending more money on your lifestyle than you are saving for your retirement year, you're going to find yourself in a situation. And the only way you can come out of those situations is if you develop a discipline for budgeting and let that be top priority. Top priority. It says, how much money do you need to retire? The average retirement savings by age may give you a benchmark for comparing your savings to other people's, but those figures don't necessarily reflect the recommended retirement savings by age. You need to do some calculations to figure out how much money you need to retire comfortably based on your current income and the age at which you plan to retire. Experts suggest that people need about 80% of their annual pre-retirement income to maintain their living standard after retirement. For example, if your gross income is $100,000 a year, you need at least $80,000 annually to maintain that lifestyle after you retire. You can then apply the popular 4% rule, which assumes you'll live for 30 years after retirement and make an average of 5% return on investments. The 4% states that you'll want to withdraw 4% of your retirement savings annually. So, for an 80,000 annual withdrawal in retirement, you'll need to save around 2 million when you retire. 80,000 times 0.04. Of course, the amount of money you need to retire depends heavily on the factors unique to your life, such as the age at which you retire, your bracket, and your assets and debts. The annual income you need to retirement is also affected by lifestyle factors, where you live, healthcare expenses, and whether you downsize to reduce your expenses. Remember that your money in your retirement account may not be the only source of income after you leave the workforce. You may receive Social Security benefits, have a pension, or earn passive income through things like rental properties. Finally, you may also want to think of your retirement saving goals in terms of your entire household needs. If you live with a spouse or partner, consider the combined income and savings of all earnings in your household, as well as any differences in how far each person is from retiring when calculating your savings goals. Although, I'm not sure, you may be online for 2 million when you retire, you may not. But remember that you should be a part of your strategy. Your lifelong strategy should include retirement plans. So maybe you are funding a retirement account of some sort, and you have that to depend on, or maybe you have some passive income that you've been making and is generating for you, or you have, what in the world? Why is my door open? Hold on a second. So all of those factors matter. Hey, somebody left the back door wide open. Must have been your daddy. All right. So you may want to consider that. Then it says, how much of your income should you save for retirement? Many advisors recommend you save 10 to 15% of your gross income for retirement, starting in your 20s. In your 20s, it says save 10 to 15% of your gross income. This means when you are applying for these employment opportunities, you should factor that in. You can't apply for a job and you make 50, when you make it 50,000 a year, you need to know what your expenses are and know whether or not that could support you. Because 500,000 you need to be wanting to put away. That leaves you with 45,000. And the question will remain, can you live off of that? Because some of this money you got to put away. Ooh, that's a hard pill to swallow. So when they ask you if you have any questions and you look at that pay scale, don't just apply for anything. And so this is why it's important that you communicate to these young adults that they need to go into career fields that can support their lifestyle in their retirement years. What's going to give you the best bang for your buck? You can't continue to keep guiding these kids and allowing them to graduate with regular business degrees with no emphasis. They have to start, if they're going to go to school and collect debt to be there, then they need to be setting themselves up while they're in school so that they can land these type of careers that's going to at least these days give them more than 67,000. And in many cases, that is not happening. It says if you want to start investing later in life or want to retire early, it may make sense to up your investments to 20% or more of your income if possible. Some people may say, man, this is very difficult to do if you got a one-party household. Maybe need two-party household. Well, this is why you need to evaluate your own life and see how you can start making adjustments to lean towards this particular concept. Realistically, not everyone can afford to put aside that much of their paycheck. Savings as much as you can now and increasing that amount as you're able. You can still help you work towards your goals. What more matters most is that you start saving what you can as early as you can, because retirement investing takes place over such a long period of time. Your savings will be heavily impacted by compounding. The earlier you invest, the more you can earn on the money over time. And so you may ask, okay, I hear you. You're talking about investing. You're talking about getting money over time. You bringing up all these different opportunities. And I'm going to come back to this part. So let me go back one. So what are some type of investments accounts, you may ask? All of this is just informational so that you can educate yourself and you know how to have a dialogue when you do go speak to a financial advisor or you speak to someone who has a finance certification, anything of that sort that can lead and guide you, that you can pay to help you guide yourself on the right path. The idea for this conversation is so that you begin to take it more serious than you have been over time. Okay. Retirement account types. Keeping your retirement savings in a tax advantage retirement account can help your money grow over time. According to a 2022 report from the Feds, among those with retirement savings, 50% of non-retired adults had money in an employer-sponsored plan such as a 401k or 413B. And 34% reported having money in an individual retirement account. Roth versus traditional IRA accounts. An IRA is a tax advantage retirement account. There are two primary types of IRAs, a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, each with unique features and benefits. All right, so let's do it. Put a 1 in the chat if you have an IRA account. Put a 2 in the chat if you have. So a 1 for an IRA account of some sort, and a 2 for a company retirement account, like a 401k or something of that nature, or TSP, etc. Right? So, income limits as of 2024. If you have a Roth IRA under 240,000, joint filers, or 161,000 single filers. Traditional IRA, no limits, right? Contribution limits as of 2024, 7,000 per year among all IRAs, 8,000 for people 50 and older. Traditional IRAs, 7,000 per year among all IRAs, and 8,000 for people 50 years old or older. So this second part, if you have a company, if you have a full 501c plan or some type of company sponsored retirement account, find out when the company will like what dollar amount does the company max out? Because there are some of these plans where the company, once the company max out, they don't match anymore. It's just you contributing. You could really just allow that to continue to grow as is and take your contribution and start another retirement account of some sort, because it's kind of almost, and you can, do your research on it, but you could really, let that one go, and then you can start putting your money somewhere else, because once the match, or once you reach a cap and it's not gaining anything else, it's just reached this mark. And that's why, like here in the Carolinas, when I worked for the state, we had the TARI program, and they could only put so much of it in the retirement, but the TARI gave them an opportunity to retire early and get an extra, I think, 300K or something like that. But anyways, a lot of people of age, once they reach the amount that they can contribute per year, they start taking that amount and they will put it somewhere else. So if you could only do 7,000 a year and you've already reached that 7,000, you don't want to risk the chance of taking that money that you was putting away in your retirement account and you just spend it foolishly. You want to take that dollar amount and find another type of investment vehicle that you can use so you can continue to grow your money for your retirement years. All right. Tax contributions, tax before contributions. So the Roth IRA, you would have already been taxed. And so if you withdraw, you don't have to be taxed again. Traditional IRA, every time you withdraw, you will be taxed. Taxes on withdrawals. Roth IRA, none for qualified withdrawals. For the traditional IRA, taxed as an ordinary income at withdrawal. Tax deductions. The Roth IRA has none. The traditional IRA contributions are deductible for the contribution year. Qualified withdrawals. For the Roth IRA, may begin at age 59 and a half, subject to the 5-year rule. For the traditional IRA, may begin at 59 and a half to do qualified IRAs. So the tip is you can have both the Roth and a traditional IRA, but you can only contribute up to the total annual contribution limit among those accounts. So you can't go over traditional or Roth IRA. You can't go over 7,000. And if you're over 50, you can't go over 8,000. Okay. So it's super important to make sure. So you can screenshot this, because sometimes you don't keep it on your mind. You don't remember. You can have it available for whenever you need it. Okay. So it's a good tool to know. And it's good to keep up on those. Okay. So here are your 401k versus your IRA retirement accounts. Employer-sponsored retirement accounts like 401ks offer distinct features compared to IRAs. Many employers offer a matching benefit in which they match the contributions to make to your 401k up to a certain percentage of your salary. So, account type, 401k, 401ks are employee sponsored. IRAs are individually managed. Participation limits. The 401k, your employer has to offer a 401k plan. The IRA, anyone eligible on age and earned income. So anybody can get an IRA. Employer matching. For the 401k, depend on your employer, but it could be between 3 to 6%. That's what I was talking about earlier. Some companies, they have a certain match dollar amount that they won't go above, or a certain limit. So once they stop matching it, you could, kind of speak to what are your options after that, or what are the opportunities you have. And in the IRA, there's no matching. Income limits for the 401k, none, but you must be employed. The IRA, the Roth IRA income limits is under 240,000, and that's for joint filers, and under 161,000 for single filers. Contribution limits as of 2024. So for a 401k, it's 23,000, 30,500 for people 50 and older. For the IRA, 7,000, 8,000. We covered that just a second ago. Investment options limited to a pre-selected list of potential investments. For the IRA, generally allows a wide variety of securities. And qualified withdrawal. So 401k, 59 and a half, and IRA, 59 and a half. So the tips, you're allowed to contribute to both a 401k and an IRA. Many investors have both type of accounts and spread their investments amongst them to take advantage of both benefits offered by each. 401k rollovers. I've done this before. I've rolled over 401k from one employer to the other. Because 401k is employee sponsored, you may select to fee, you may be subject to fees when you leave your employer or risk losing track of multiple retirement accounts when it comes time, to do your retirement planning. Often investors will initiate 401k rollover when they relieve a job, moving their money in their account into their new company's 401k, or roll it into a traditional IRA. This has the benefit of giving you control over how you're investing your money and consolidating your retirement accounts. So when you leave a job, you can roll it over. If you think when you take it out, it's going to tempt you to spend it, you may want to just roll it over into an IRA, get with your bank or financial institution, and they'll help you get that done. Tips for saving for retirement. A 2023 Gallup survey revealed that only 43% of non-retired adults expect a financially comfortable retirement, and 71% of non-retired adults are at least moderately worried about being able to fund their retirement. Not everyone knows how to start investing for their retirement or how much they should invest. The good news is you don't have to create a comprehensive financial plan or have all the answers to start putting away money for your future. Try these tips to get the ball rolling towards your goals. Make regular contributions to your retirement accounts. Build retirement savings into your monthly budget and put aside a bit of money from every paycheck. The slow and steady approach can make it less daunting to hit your goal. Number 2, take advantage of your employer matches. If your employee matches some of your 401k contributions, make sure you're contributing enough to maximize how much they will match. Your employer's contributions are like free money to bolster your retirement savings. Number 3, invest extra when you can. When you get a bonus or a surprise windfall, consider putting a chunk of that money into your retirement account to give yourself a boost towards reaching your goals. Number 4, increase your savings when you get a raise to avoid lifestyle creep and bolsters your investments. Bump up your contribution percentages when you get a raise. For instance, if you get a 3% raise, consider increasing your retirement contributions by 1%. Automate your retirement investments. If you have an IRA, set up direct transfers so that your contributions are automatically taken out of your bank the same way you're paid. That way, you won't be tempted to spend that money and saving will feel more worthless. Take advantage of different investing options. Various types of retirement accounts have different advantages. So consider investing in both 401k and an IRA if you have the option. You can also invest in stocks and other securities through a brokerage account. This avenue doesn't confer tax advantages, but it can be additional way to build long-term wealth. Revisit your retirement plans annually. Did you move to a cheaper part of town, get a new job, buy a new house, change marital status? As you age, your debts and assets change, which could call for adjustments to your retirement. So, all in all, you guys, I just wanted you guys to kind of get on board, start thinking about it, paying attention to budgeting and getting ready for that big old retirement plan, because that is what's going to sustain your lifestyle after you're employed. You wonder why, if you look around, many of these aged individuals who are working, it is not because they want to. It is because they have no choice and they didn't have the opportunity to save and put away for the rainy day. So it's super important that you start to take your finances a little bit more seriously. And even if you only did $5 or $10, $30 to start, you have to start somewhere. That's what's important. That's what's going to get you on point. Okay. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the information. Glad to be back. Let me see. And make sure you guys maximize everything that I talked about and you guys get back on point, because it matters to you. And if you have children, it matters to them even the more. Okay. So, peace, power, and profit. Thanks for joining us.